Whalecome one and Whalecome all. I don't even think we have everybody on stream yet, but it is time for the bad value morning stream. Why is it the bad value morning stream? Well, my friends. Allow me to begin to elucidate you on that in a few minutes, and once people begin rolling in here. Just one moment here. But welcome to Monday morning, my friends. This is what Monday morning looks like. Hey, it's Besker. Welcome, Besker. I hope you're having a good time. You're the first one in here, the true loyal son, Besker. I recognize you for the one that you are. But yeah, that's how things are beginning this morning. I figured I didn't. We're all early today, Eddie. You know, I was working on a video tonight. I took the dog out for a walk, and then I just didn't really have the wherewithal to continue it. As you can hear from the music I'm playing in the background, I also started to think about, like, Cyberpunk again, which is one of probably the most consequential game I've ever played, which I'm always really bitter that people hate that game, because it's one of the most beautiful gaming experiences I've ever had, and it's had the biggest impact on me in any video game I've ever played. I'm not going to be on long as I've got to go to sleep. It's late for me. Nah, it's all good, Besker. But yeah, like, if anybody ever asks me if Cyberpunk is a good value or not, Cyberpunk is an incredible gaming experience. So it's a great game for gameplay. If you like The Witcher, you'll like it. But more than anything, it's the story, and it's got the best story of any video game I think I've ever played. I can't think of a game that has had a bigger impact on me in terms of its storyline and whatnot. And I've just been thinking about it again lately, and I'm so sad that there's no expansion out for it yet. It's not going to be till later this year, I suspect. So it's real. I got Cyberpunk on release and haven't touched it in about a year, mainly due to the influence of the masses. Maybe I'll pick it back up this week. I can't recommend it enough, Eddie. If you've got it on PC or anything, don't listen to the masses. Those people are fools. I beat it the week it came out. I was fortunate I didn't have many bugs, but it is genuinely one of the best games I've ever played in my life. And it has an incredible story. And, like, I get emotional talking about the story. It had such an impact on me. I've always felt that way about Cyberpunk as well. It's beautiful, and it's dark, and it's sad, and there's mixes of hope and a brighter tomorrow, but it's all in shadow, and it's such an incredible gaming experience. And it gives you such a great idea of where we're going, where we've been, and what could be in a bad way, but also in a good way. You see humanity at its best and humanity at its worst in Cyberpunk 2077. It's genuinely, like, it. I find it to be quite heart-wrenching at times, as you find out, the life of V and the life of Johnny Silverhand, and how they intermingle with one another, and how fortune and fate deal them both a bad hand. And you see them recognize the faults of their lives, and you see them recognize the faults of their pasts, mutually, as they come closer to one another, and they intermix with one another, even mentally in some way. But you see them both change as people throughout the story, and it is an absolutely incredible gaming experience to go through. And if you have the ability to indulge in it, if you have the ability to get down to its core, Vulcan, it's an incredible game. It absorbed 200 hours of my life through 2 playthroughs. I want to do a 3rd playthrough, but I just can't justify it without more content. And because, like, to be honest, like, even though I love the game, a lot of those parts really hurt me to play through. Like, and I mean that to say that, like, I feel such an affinity to the game, that I feel so sad for so many of the characters in it, and what could have been for them, and what could be, and just the opportunities laid at their feet, and the roads not traveled and the roads traveled. It's an absolutely stunning experience. When you have an opportunity to play the game, and I call it an opportunity to play it, because it really is. It really is one of the greatest gaming experiences I've personally ever had. And I do intend to replay it as soon as there's new content for it. But I have to prepare myself for it. In a way, it's sort of like why I didn't write for a long time, because I know many of you guys don't notice I write as a hobby on the side too. But I tend to write stories of a similar genre, like a similar bent. And I was not in the right headspace to do it. Like I just couldn't write it near the latter portions of my job, because of just the difficult nature of what it is to experience what some of those characters experience, as you really begin to understand a combination of their loneliness or their mistakes or the strains of their relationships and whatnot. And Cyberpunk has all of that in spades. It's not just a story about some guy in a sci-fi setting shooting people. That's great. That's great. Like, that's piled on top of it. But at its core, Cyberpunk as a game is about talking to you about what it is to be alive in the world today and in the world tomorrow. And I really can't, like, what is it to be free? Like, there's so much packed into it, and so much of it is hidden under layers, and you have to dig beneath the surface. But as you do, you'll subconsciously dig beneath the surface during the game if you pay attention to the story. It is the best story I've ever seen in a video game. And like, I absolutely love it. I find it genuinely to be. I feel better as a person having played it. I think that it actually awakened something in me in many ways when I played through it. It was such a magical experience. And I say none of this with like sarcasm or anything like that. It really is. It really is probably the best video game I've ever played in my life. It might be the most consequential entertainment product I've ever gone through from start to finish, and it's left the biggest impact on me of any game I can think of. No game has stuck with me for over a year and a half since it came out. No game has stuck with me in the way that Cyberpunk lives in my head. Warhammer 40,000 obviously lives in my head too, so does BattleTech and things like that, but there's no individual story in Warhammer 40,000 I find as compelling as the individual story of V and Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077. It's, if we ever get an experience like that for Warhammer 40,000, it would be. I find it impossible because of the nature of the studios drawn to the franchise. But make no mistake about it, it is an emotional experience. Don't go in there thinking you're going to be playing Call of Duty. It's not that type of experience. It's not there for that. It is a deep role-playing experience. You're not role-playing yourself necessarily. You're role-playing a man named V, or a woman named V, and you have to make those decisions for that character. Forgive me for starting today off on the warm-up part of the stream with such a deep topic about the ideas behind Cyberpunk and how it affected me. I don't mean to do that. We're going to be talking 40K today, but no, the saddest story is the story around how they changed Fulgrim's sad story. Fulgrim is not a sad story anymore. Fulgrim's just a weird degenerate. For Johnny Silverhand's part of the story in Cyberpunk, you are experiencing a man who's out of time and a man who sees the consequences of his actions. He's forced to face the things that he would have normally not lived to see, the things that he caused, which is really sad. And for V, you face a man or a woman who has begun their life with no hope, who has become one of these characters at the start, and is basically out for themselves, and basically is living life to the fullest every day, and then is condemned to die, and has to face the realities of what that is, and what that is as a person. It's a very, very, very deep game, and you build on these things, and it's very much almost like the ending of Cowboy Bebop, where before you finish the game, where Spike is confronted by Faye, and she tells him, "Are you going to die?" And he goes, "No, I'm going to go see if I'm still alive." And the whole game is really built on that premise at a certain point. V's character goes through all these stages of grief for his own life, and then at the end, you get to find out what type of person V is and who he grew into and what he wants and what, what the story of him chasing after the impossible has led him to do, and if he's going to accept the circumstances as they are, open a new door for other people, even if it closes them for himself, or if he's going to accept what life has dealt him and just live life. It's an incredible, Cyberpunk's an incredible game, and it shares a lot of there's a lot of crossover in that type of storytelling between the story of Spike Spiegel and V from Cowboy Bebop, from Cyberpunk, and I would argue that, of course, V from Cyberpunk is more fleshed out and it's a deeper story because you spend more time with him. But it's a game like no other. If you genuinely want to experience something that deep and you have it for PC, I don't know what the console experience is like. Honestly, give it a shot. Apparently, it's on sale right now. I didn't know that. I've owned it since launch. I bought it on Good Old Games. It is genuinely the best game I can think of that I've played in terms of its story. The gameplay is still very solid and very good. It really is an incredible game. I really do mean it. And as I said, I'm listening to part of its soundtrack right now because it really is something that it spoke to me anyway. It spoke very much to me about the circumstance of life. So we've hit the 12-minute mark almost, boys. As I said, we're going to start talking 40K stuff. This is just the warm-up part for anybody new here. We talk mostly 40K, mostly stuff that's going on. This is the morning stream. We don't always do morning streams anymore, but today is the morning stream, and for very good reason, which is that I'm bored. I was recording a video, and Aries kept interrupting me to play, so I took him out for a walk this morning, and I got back, and I just can't find myself in the right headspace to finish recording the video. So I'm just decided, hey, screw it. We'll jump on stream. We'll talk with people. We'll see what's going on. We'll do, even if it's only going to be an hour or two this morning. It's not going to be the longest one. I will go back to sleep at some point or go back to doing the video. But screw it. Why not jump on here, talk with people? We got 2 minutes and 30 seconds before we start talking about the subjects of today, and which is of course the bad value morning stream. Oh, is it bad value? You bet it's bad value, boys and girls, because the Eldritch Storm box is not offering you good value. It's offering you bad value. Oh, I know. You can almost imagine it in your mind's eye. But how? Bear? I actually might be doing a video on it. I've hit an amusing roadblock with painting my Battletech minis this morning. That's so sad, Tuppy. But Cowboy Bebop live action adaptation is where it's at. Yeah, Mitchie, if you want to get banned, that's a quick way to get banned. But no, we've what was the word I'm looking for here? Sorry, guys, I got off track. But I actually might be doing a video this week talking about the lack of value in these new box sets. Because when Kevin Roundtree first came into the company, he insisted that they do a lot of these box sets. Because this is where the value is for the consumer, and we can go through, right? I love Mitch. He's like, I'm joking, don't do it, don't pull the trigger. Basically creating value through creating discounts through box sets that make it worthwhile for the player. And that business model looks like it's going to begin to unravel pretty soon. And the reason why it's going to begin to unravel is very simple, which is, of course, the fact that it's not offering value anymore. Oh yes, bad value in my eyes. It's $62.50 for 6 new models and 1 old one. An old one that nobody wants either. Like the old dinosaur demon engine ain't doing it for a whole lot of people. And that's before you take into account that, I don't even know if those chosen... I don't know if those chosen are going to be expensive when they come out too. Just watch, GW's going to charge 30 to 35 pounds for 5 chosen. It's not worth it. It's a bad value, and I'm going to be talking about this, I think, in a video. It's probably going to be a shorter video this week. I am working on the big Warhammer Plus video this week as well, so I'm going to probably do recordings for both and then see which one I can get done more quickly. So it's probably going to be the value one. And the value one is going to really be talking about the fact that I'm like, hey guys, this is poor value. Because if we look back at Wake the Dead, something I have 2 boxes of on the back shelf there, Wake the Dead was £90 or $180 Canadian. And it gives me more, I believe there's like more miniatures, more value in that box set. And it is 3/4 the price. So GW is telling me to pay 25% more for 2/3 of the product. And it's just not a good value. Hey, Connor Riggs, Whalecome. It's not good value. And that's what the video I think is going to be about, talking about, like, you know, there needs to be a value proposition to players in these large box sets. They believe the exclusivity of the models. They believe the paid time wall is going to be enough. But I would argue that in both of these units' cases, they are not offering enough value. They are not offering enough value to the players with these units. These units are not miracle units in the army. They're not Tau Hammerheads. Like, Rangers are a very basic troop choice that is a Eldari guy who can get blasted off an objective very easily, and has a sniper rifle that may do some damage if he fishes for 6s with 5 shots. You're gonna hit 4 times, you're not even guaranteed a 6 to wound and all that. You know, the bikes, I don't know where the value is in those bikes, to be honest. I think that they look beautiful. And I will make reference to the fact that they're beautiful models, and if you love the models, buy the models. But if you're just talking about from a gameplay decision point, it's not offering it to people. It's not giving people the value proposition of what they need. The Autarch, beautiful model. What more can I say? It is a beautiful model. But does it offer you the value? This is always the question. Does it offer value? Is it value for money? And I think that they're going to find out that they've finally started to hit the point where it's not value for money. Yeah, Marcus, it's an insult to storytelling to call that show good, and it was written by absolute clowns too. The clown car pulled up in front of Netflix to pitch that offer. I'm still seeing Shadowzone boxes in stores. It feels like they overestimated how many of these boxes will sell, especially the shelves full of Dominion wherever I go. Yeah, there's a lot of boxes that are not moving right now. They're trying to pass all of it on to the resellers. I don't think the resellers are going to be able to float this type of stuff anymore. Like, these box sets are not offering enough value. Like, they're just not. The value is not there. This is going to start becoming a bigger and bigger problem, and it's going to open up a bigger and bigger hole in Games Workshop's business. They're going to have to do something about it. And I don't know how long of a video I'm going to do on it, but I do want to do a video on it. Basically just talking about the fact that I'm like, look, some of these tactics aren't working. And 40k does fare better. Like, to be very clear, 40k does fare better than AOS. AOS is a friggin' boat anchor right now. That thing is just going to pull them to the bottom, man. That's going to be the big thing that sinks them. Especially as that system continues to decline. Well, the scalpers have vanished because the scalpers are basically indicative of an economic problem. Like, that's actually... The scalpers actually are indicative of an economic system that is not working. We don't do politics here on the Big Red 40k channel, but I because scalpers are an issue, I have to point out there are scalpers for everything now. Why are there scalpers for everything? There are scalpers for everything because of the financialization of the economy, and because effectively you have a fundamental breakdown of the social and economic contract between peoples and the elites and their societies. That is something that I do not want to touch on. That I do not want to touch on this channel, so we won't be, but I do have to point out that the scalper problem is not so much a matter of Games Workshop themselves entirely. The scalper problem has begun to emerge because of the nature of what has happened to society. and the breakdown of the economic order of things, and how that will actually accelerate until there's a massive bubble crash, in which case everybody who had their assets tied up in things like magic cards or cryptocurrencies or Warhammer will lose a great deal of value. Yeah, it's profiteering. When there's no ability to earn an honest living, people will turn to profiteering, even though it further cannibalizes the economy, because it's just a logical conclusion to a system that isn't working anymore. It's the same way that the black market expanded in the Soviet Union at the time, where they were basically beginning their massive decline. Like, again, I don't really want to get too much into the weeds on this, but like I have to point out that people think the scalping is a GW problem. Scalping's not a GW problem. Scalping is a problem of societies that aren't working correctly anymore and are in the process of slowly breaking down. You can actually look at there's a lot of parallels between the decline of the USSR and the decline of Western powers right now, in terms of the symptoms and in terms of, like, look at it. You have mass heroin, mass drinking, like all these other problems appearing. Why are they appearing? They're appearing because we've created societies that aren't functioning anymore. And they will have to be fundamentally rebalanced, and there's going to be a lot of pain in that rebalance. I know I'll go through a lot of pain. I'm actually in the worst age demographic for a crash to happen. When a crash happens, we're talking it's truly catastrophic, it will take a lifetime to rebuild, because there's no manufacturing base really in any of these countries anymore to really rebuild the economies as we understand them. So there's going to be a lot of poverty, there's going to be a lot of low-quality jobs. But yeah, I'm getting 300 seconds. I'm sorry, guys. Like, this is the problem. I always answer people's questions. You can always get answers from the Big Red 40K channel on what I think. Throw Bear into the duffel bag of destruction. That's right, guys. We're going to toss me in there. I deserve it. I only answered. All right, guys. Do you guys want me to go silent for 5 minutes? Well, I can just sit here and look at the camera, and we can listen in on this wonderful soundtrack for 5 minutes if you want. I think he's asleep right now, Hamish. I don't think he wants to go. Yeah. I see his ears up right now, just laying there in bed. Aries can't host right now, man. Aries is asleep. But, shame. Put Barking Toad in there. No. But yeah, like, so yeah, this morning we talked a bit about Cyberpunk, funnily enough, a game I love very much, and we're talking about the value proposition behind these new box sets, and I think that it's going to be it's going to be really painful for Games Workshop to divorce itself from these box sets, or to go back to how they were doing them before. They want higher margins, but I don't think it's going to work anymore. I think that these higher margin sets are going to have to go back to value margin sets to begin making money and expanding the hobby base before. So, like, if you look before, why were they offering people all these great deals on box sets? And they were still making money. I always hate it when they were losing money for them. Games Workshop does not sell products at a loss. They just don't. I think that there was an exception to that when they did Curse City. I think but that's because they screwed it up. But when we look at the products they sell everything at a profit. And the reason why they have morphed these box sets into this way is just to get more profit. Just to be blunt, they've realized, hey, we can put less in and sell it for more. But I think that it's going to. Thanks for the link to Artis Opus tutorial last night. I'm going to try to lighten up my Death Guard and make those details pop. Yeah, man. As I said, like, you can look towards all the different, like, it doesn't even have to be a white color scheme, but anything like that, it will actually show you how to go over top of it with dry brushing. Dry brushing is a great technique for certain colors. So I'm a big advocate for dry brushing, especially things like white. When we do the Canadian Marines, the white component of them is going to be all dry brushing, 100%. But yeah, like, it is a fascinating arrangement how Games Workshop has done this. Basically offering lower and lower value per box set to come out, trying to sell them on rules, sometimes trying to sell them on exclusivity. Hey, you can't get this model for 3 to 4 months unless you buy it in this box set. That only works so long, and that works basically not even for scalpers. That works on the idea that you have an audience who's willing to pay anything to get a hold of that stuff. And I don't know if that audience still is going to continue to emerge for Warhammer 40,000. There's a lot of people with big backlogs, and also you have to offer real value for those models. And, like, you know, just because you bundle the new Warpsmith in with a substandard pile of Chaos Space Marines doesn't mean it's going to sell. And I don't think that it's going to sell. I think that they've been turning up the heat in terms of the cost on products for a while now, and I think that they're going to get burned. But, you know, that's just what I think. You know, I could be wrong. I hope it's not the case. As I've mentioned before, I actually like the company. I just think that they're not in growth mode right now, and they should be in growth mode. I think that being in mining, like, you know, basically exploitation mode like they've been in for the last 2 years has been bad for business. I think that actually also explains why the company actually had some shrink sales. It's not all down to the bad part of their marketing and whatnot. I think part of it is also the fact they've turned up the heat and people just aren't in on it. Heavy intercessors did not do well because they're too expensive for what they are. Yeah, the FOMO, the constant FOMO, you can only FOMO for so long. You can only FOMO for so long. Fear of missing out is not an infinite strategy. Hello, Guardsman Holden, and Whalecome to the Big Red 40k stream. Eldritch Omens should cost no more than 60 quid. I don't agree with that. I think that Eldritch Omens should be somewhere between 80 to 90 quid. If I'm going to be honest, I think that that's more. It's basically 30 to 50 quid overpriced, depending on how you look at it. Good day, Chili, and Whalecome to the Big Red 40k stream in the morning. We now have 20 people concurrently watching at this time this morning. If you're enjoying your time here, you guys know what I'm going to ask you to do. If you're having fun, hit the like button. It helps us fight Algaroth, the great demon of YouTube. It helps us advance this channel forward into an ever brighter tomorrow. It helps. It does the things. It will help us more and more moving forward. I will require your help, comrades. Comrades, you must come to my aid. But other than that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I don't know if anybody is new here, of course, but we're always happy to have additional subscriptions on board. We have a Discord as well. And feel free to join us on Discord, and you will have a great time with us on Discord as we discuss many of the spicy things and the spicy memes. Well, not really spicy memes. They're only spicy if your Games Workshop and you're getting burned, or if you play Chaos Space Marines, really. But yeah, effectively, they're going to price themselves out of their own market, and they're going to be forced to restructure how they do their pricing. Whoever thinks that this is a good plan is out of their mind. It is a company that is still doing quite well. It's still quite a healthy company, but these types of things are not healthy decisions. Oh, we can take a look at that. It ain't pretty, Connor. It ain't pretty. And if they lock them to what's in the box, it's gonna be even less pretty. Oh boy, I want to find this because this is the perfect garbage. Yeah, boy. Eldritch Omens Chaos on a Sprue. I found it. Let's put this up on screen, friends. Let's do this. You guys want to see some hardcore action? You guys want to see... I know, y'all. Y'all want to see this as much as I... High price, low quality. So, chain axes, a couple of them. Couple of swords. They got a mace. Got a couple of gun options. And power sword. Yeah, single power sword, single power axe. Couple of Melta combi weapons. Yeah. Yep, that's that is what they got going on, fellas. It ain't looking too spectacular, I'm not gonna lie to you. It ain't looking too great. Yep. Yeah, the Tech Marine being Primaris, it works because it's a nicer model. I have not been a fan of the Chosen, as many of you know. I've thought that they're mini Marines. They're mini Marines with bad options. Like, and if you're going to be locked to what's in the box, sorry boys, this is a big swing and a miss. A big swing and a miss. So many companies F things up looking for wider audiences. I understand the financial drive for it, but it's super niche like 40K. I don't see it. That's why fan animations were doing. Yeah, like, I don't think that there's a wider audience. Like, one reason why a lot of companies won't partner with Games Workshop for their movie productions is because there's no wider audience. Like, I think Amazon is going to drop Eisenhorn. There's been no movement on it. As soon as I read more about the lore, you're like, this ain't gonna work too well. It's about space. The main faction is space. Space World War II bad guys, basically. The whole faction is space World War II bad guys, and then you've got the Gene Stealer cults, the Drakari, and the cult of Slaanesh, which are literally like space non-consent. Yeah, this is going to work real well, boys. Going to reach that wider audience. Only one mace. One mace, no Thunderhammer. People were saying there was going to be a Thunderhammer. No Thunderhammer. Ain't bringing the hammer, baby. Bringing no love. Yeah, like the Tech Marine looks great. Like the Warp Smith, I think, is the best model in the kit. All are 18 plus factions. Yeah, man. You've basically got the Space World War II bad guys fighting, Cthulhu, fighting a bunch of the Elder Gods, who are fighting a bunch of space. I guess the Drakari would be like Hellraiser, basically a bunch of space Hellraiser fighting a bunch of like the normal Eldar, like space World War II East Front guys. Like if you look at their society, that's kind of what they are, but with like a murder god, at the core of them, and a god of death helping them out. You just start adding this stuff all together. You're like, I don't know how much wide market appeal you're gonna have, boys, and none of them are good guys. You say, no, they're all garbage. All of them, they're all garbage. You're like, I don't know how well this is gonna sell, boys. Like, I love Warhammer 40,000. I love Warhammer 40,000. I love the story. I love the world. Yeah, dude, no Thunderhammer. There's no thunder in that hammer, York. At least from what we're seeing from the leaked sprues. Doesn't look like a Thunderhammer made it, even though they talked about it. Not a good sign. Looks like that's the case, but on top of that, they're mini Marines anyway. You know what? I gotta say, this box set is bad value. Bluntly put, this is bad value. The Rangers are 5 relatively squishy guys with sniper rifles. Not great value at this price. The bikes are 3 Rangers on bikes with some scatter lasers helping them out. Not great value. If you're just talking pure gameplay, not great value. The models are nice. Are those models worth paying that type of price for them? I'm just going to be totally blunt. No. They're not. The Chosen are not Havoc scale. The Chosen are Mini Marine scale. The Tech Marine is Havoc scale. The Warp Smith is Havoc scale, but not the Chosen. Chosen are little boys. The little boys coming to talk to Papa. They're little boys. They're not the real men. Yeah, dude, the pain is real. Like, I've told people before, I'm like, guys, it's going to be years before they fix Chaos. Years. 5, 6, 7 years. I don't think so. I think that the Thunderhammer is likely going to come in the bike set. I think that the aspiring champion in the bike set has a Thunderhammer, and they'll let you kit bash it onto these guys, is my bet. If they let you do that for the champion alone. This has been a really easy thing to not buy models for, Vulcan. Like, you know, given that I'm currently in the status of being less than employed at the moment, I personally was like, oh man, what if there's a bunch of cool releases? Don't have to worry about that one, boys! Like, I can live cheap and not have to spend any money on anything. It's great. I will say that I am probably going to get the new Chaos Knight. I have budgeted for that, and that is something that's very likely to happen. But other than that, I can't think of anything I really want to buy, even, guys. I mean that sincerely. Like, I just can't think of anything that I want to buy. Like they're not offering me much. They're not offering me much new anyway. Like, you know, like there's, like, for me, I already have enough Tau. I have enough Orcs. I wasn't interested in the Orc release. I love Eldar and I would love Rangers, but I'm not willing to buy that. Felix, I actually am not a big fan of the Horus Heresy. I love the setting of the Horus Heresy, but I don't like it as a game. I don't like mirror matches. I find them very boring. And Marine versus Marine, like Imperial versus Imperial. I know that there's Renegades and it's Imperial versus Imperial. I find it about as interesting as watching glue dry. I would love to see Orcs versus Tyranids, or Space Marines versus Eldar, or anything other than Marines versus Marines. So even though Horus Heresy, I'm sure it's going to have a lot of nice stuff in it. I'm just not someone who's interested in what they're offering in that respect. I recognize that there are tons of people who love Horus Heresy, love the game, love investing in it, love the setting. Perfect. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not like, they shouldn't even make it. I don't have that attitude at all. It's just I'm not the target audience for it, because Marines versus Marines is just sounds like a perpetual nightmare for me. I might just pick up some Chaos Knights. You know, that's what I did, Connor. I dropped Chaos Space Marines for Knights and Demons, because at least Knights and Demons look cool. At least they look cool. I have enough points saved up with my FLGS that I can walk out Saturday with 2 new Space Marine models and not have to pay for them. Hey, you're going to get the Gravis chat, Captain, I'm guessing? I don't like Gravis very much, but I think that I like the head that they have for him. I love, like, that head with the scar and whatnot. I think he looks really good. I'll build in my Eldari army piecemeal a la carte. No need to combo box for me. Yeah, like, you know what? If they offered really good value in this box set, I would have wanted to get it just for the Rangers. But, like, it's 5 Rangers. It's 5 Rangers. Like, what is that? It's nothing. It's barely anything. It's not a major contributor to an army. 5 Rangers is, like, insignificant. Chaos Knights are the only Chaos range currently that does not disappoint, that is a versatile army that offers... No, it's not a great army, but at least it's interesting to look at. At least it has plenty of options, because you can just pick a Knight Despoiler and run rampant with it. Like, that's what I've done with our boy here. So we'll shed some light on him behind me here. You can see that he is progressing quite well. I have been painting the upper parts of the body finally. So piece this all back together. It's not done yet. I've got a bit of dry brushing to do on the bone, and I've got a bit more shading to do around certain panels. But this guy here has been progressing quite well. I have very much enjoyed putting this guy together. It's been one of the great highlights of this year so far, has been working on the Chaos Knight with you guys on stream. I've been working on it independently as well. So the things left to do, I'm going to be painting some silver at the end of this gun for the part that holds the bronze barrels together. I've still got to paint some details up top. I've still got, as you can see, I've got to paint some of the bones still. I've got to dry brush the bone after the fact to make it go a little bit higher. I've already finished the under part here for this, where I've got, like, the glowing chest piece there for him. So I love this thing. I love this model. I'm going to do a whole night house like this. It's my House Lilith. I believe the name I'm giving to this guy is Obsidian, I think. I'm going to try to give them all very vampire-esque names. The big one with the Volkite, one guy suggested it. I'm like, oh, we have to do it. My big one is going to be named Alucard. Castlevania, baby. So that's going to be the big one. Yeah, like there's so much potential opportunities for Chaos Knights, and I just don't see that with regular Chaos Space Marines at the moment. Well, it's very different from Red Corsairs because it's a dark blue instead of a black, and the red pattern of the armor changes per night because it's all personal heraldry. Any Nosferatu? Oh yeah, dude, there's going to be one named Nosferatu, but I'm going to make it a melee one. I wait for them to go on sale. Like I pick out different areas where someone like sells them secondhand, largely unassembled, and those are the ones that I go for. I just don't see a reason for me to go out and buy a bunch of first-hand ones for obvious reasons. I thought you were thinking about Helsing. No. Alucard, dude. Dracula, but spelled backwards. Chaos Space Marines, you mean Black Legionaries? So sad. Yeah, dude. Well, Chaos Space Marines will be getting their second wound. That is going to happen. But I don't think that's what makes them bad. People have obsessed over... In the Chaos community, I can't stress enough how much I've hated watching people whine about the wound, focusing entirely on the wrong element of what plagues the army. What plagues the army is that they have an old army. Their opponents are all getting new armies with new ideas and new ways of playing. Chaos Space Marines, you're going to get some new rules that are like, oh, this is the destruction phase and the slaughter phase. That stuff is not going to be the difference maker for this army. The problem is the army does not have the right weapon options. It does not bring the right units to the table to be successful. And adding an extra wound to them doesn't fix their low damage output and low potential. So that is the big problem I have with Chaos Space Marines. Like, as a tabletop force anyway. And models, I have bigger problems with the models even because they're not Primaris. Primaris are better scaled, they're easier to paint, and they look better. Yep. They're bigger, nicer, and better for the same price. So why would I bother with Chaos Space Marines? I don't care about the wound, I just want my Chaos models without trim. Oh boy, then you're going to have to buy some Primaris, boys. My mind was blown when Bear said heavy intercessors were only 2 sprues. I ran over the box, tore them open, and screamed internally. Yeah, basically they're the same amount of plastic as buying regular intercessors, but you're paying twice as much. Yup, more than twice as much. You're actually paying about 7% more. Yeah, like... It's and the number of people who get hyper defensive over, like, I can't notice the scale difference. What are you talking about? It's like, pick up the 2 fucking models and look at them. Look at them. Like, we've done it on stream here before multiple times. You can see the difference. The Space Marine is bigger and has more detail and is chunkier and doesn't have a bunch of trim. The Chaos Space Marine is a little boy who's up to the Primaris Marine's shoulder. I think I noticed the difference, boys. Conversions are the only thing that keeps the hobby alive for me. Hey, and you do some great conversions, Mitchie. We saw those on stream before. Good on you. Never actually seen it at Mind Show. Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. Just give me 1 second here, boys. Where'd I put him? We'll use this guy. Compare him to this guy. Oh my god, that is even more prevalent, and it's not even a full intercessor. Oh my god, it's even worse. Do I have another? I thought I had another regular. Oh, yes, I do. He's even hunched over to further accentuate my point. So here's another one. So, I'm going to show you a couple things here, guys, to make you guys realize just how small these guys are. This is a Reaver. He's a bit dusty, but he's a Reaver Sergeant for my Minotaurs, right? So Reavers are smaller than normal Intercessors, okay? So they are not the same size, right? So we've established that. So this Reaver right here, this is a Chaos Space Marine standing full upright next to the Reaver. Now, I want to make sure I put these guys exactly side by side. He is up to the Reaver's shoulder. It's hard to see on camera. If you look at them head to head, look at how much bigger that Reaver is than that little Chaos boy. Phobos armor, the little man armor. Look at how much bigger he is than that Chaos Space Marine. Look at that. This is no joke. People are like, no, there's no scale difference. He's a small boy. And then this is a Space Marine pointing. Again, these are both standing upright. They're in the same pose. Look at how much bigger he is. Look at how much chonkier he is. Look at the limb difference. It's just, you know, I didn't sculpt these fucking models. And I hate it when people tell me, like, you just don't own the Chaos models. I'm like, I got a fucking 100 of these useless cunts. I'm mad about it. I'm even more angry about it when people tell me that I'm wrong when I have the model in my hand. Like, it's kind of small. No, man. Have a great night, Besker. I'm even more mad about it when I've got the model in my hand and they're like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. He's not small at all, dog. Normal size Marine, normal size. You know, he's just as big as, you know, like, you're just overreacting. They're almost the same size. It's almost the same. Like, they're tiny. They're tiny. They are smaller than the Phobos Marines. Who people who buy Space Marines think are not big enough. They're literally smaller than the Phobos Marines. And these people have the audacity to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I have a lot of copium every day for my Chaos Space Marines. You need glasses, dog. Like, you don't understand. Just because he's up to his shoulder. He's up to the shoulder. Chaos Space Marines are like the guys who freaked out in the bagel shop about his height. Bagel Boss is a Chaos Space Marine. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. It's insane to me. One second here. I got downvoted for this, but it's just true. I'm going to show you guys. So I find it genuinely insulting that people are this blind about it. You're wrong about you're wrong. I'm right. Chaos. Yeah, like, it's just embarrassing. It's an embarrassing faction, and the people who cling on to it are like they're part of the problem because they won't let this thing die for it to be reborn. So, like, you know, it's just pathetic. So, dude, my first army was Chaos Space Marines. Like, after 2017, the new Marines came out. They're a much better proportion. And my dad owned Space Marines, like, because he's responding to me from earlier. Like, dude showed they're being dramatic. I'm like, I've played Chaos Space Marines from the year 2000 to 2017. I know what I'm talking about. It's my opinion. They're ugly models. They're badly proportioned. They're better than the old Chaos Space Marine models, but the old Chaos Space Marine models are worse. It's not your opinion. It's my opinion. If you can't figure that out, it's not on me. you're not writing in your opinion. It's like, I never regretted buying an army in 40k. Rebuilding my Chaos Space Marines was the worst decision I ever made, and I wish I'd never bought them. It's the first army I sold off in its entirety. I have zero regrets doing it. Bad models. Your opinion is your opinion, but there are people who think otherwise. Absolutely. And here's the key part that people downvote me for, and they're fucking morons. I hate this. I'd agree, but the complete implosion of Chaos sales since Primaris came out ain't fully on the rules. Like, you'd have to be out of your mind to think that it's all, oh, it's just because rules bad. Only reason Chaos not sell rules bad. Only reason, you know, my game good, my army good, give copium. It's like, no, it's bad models. They're bad models. It's bad models from the start, bad models to the finish. They would sell well despite bad rules if they had good models worth owning. And it's just true. Copium is a hard drug, man. People don't want to admit that they invested in something that has been mismanaged because it makes them feel like they wasted their money. Like, this happens with video games. People get overinvested in games. People get overinvested in stocks. People get overinvested in, like, a relationship. And they're never willing to look back on it and be like, nah, maybe I fucked up. Maybe this wasn't the right choice. Maybe I'm not getting my value out of this. Because they feel like they're already too invested. It's the fault. It's the sunk cost fallacy. Like, you know, if you're enjoying Chaos Space Marines, I hope you do. But I do not enjoy this. I do not enjoy this. I do not enjoy having Chaos Space Marines be up to the shoulder of a Phobos Marine and they're both on even ground. He's up to his goddamn shoulder. And he's half the width. You know, like, why would I be interested in that? And you know what? This guy's the same size as those Chosen models. Boom. Oh, look, guys, the Chosen are going to be even bigger. Yeah. But that's your opinion. No, they didn't even make it out like, you're just wrong. I'm like, well, it's my opinion, asshole. No, it's your opinion then. It's like, yeah, Primaris are bigger. What I'm saying, Alfarius, is that they should have made the Chaos Space Marines bigger rather than having them be smaller than a Phobos Marine. By a lot. He's a tiny boy. It's like, the problem is, Grimgar, these came out at the same time as the Primaris Marines. So, like, I don't care if you can't be like, oh, well, you know, it's, you know, they're supposed to be smaller. Don't make them smaller. Because they look stupid. They don't get the detail in. That's before you even get to the rules. It's just a bad way of doing business. You've basically cut one part of your balls off. I enjoy every model I paint. Secondhand is my main source of Warhammer. For me, it doesn't matter if they are old or Primaris. It matters to me if the model looks bad. And I think the old models look bad. Like, this is what it boils down to. It's harder to paint, and it's less satisfying results. Yeah, Grey Knights are in the same boat, Grimgar. Absolutely there. And you'll note Castellan Crow, he's the size of a Primaris Marine. Why is Castellan Crow the size of a Primaris Marine? Golly, I wonder. Could it be that they got a bunch of negative feedback? I don't believe it. But unfortunately, the one army that they continue to give the midget treatment to, even as they give armies like Grey Knights and the few characters have gotten, they're not midget Marines anymore. I wonder why. But the one army that's going to keep getting these midget releases is going to be Chaos Space Marines. The Warpsmith is a proper Primaris scaled Space Marine. I'm super stoked for that. He looks great. One model looks great. Absolutely I am, Argo. This is called the Bad Value Morning Stream. We're talking about bad value. Bad value in the bad box set. Bad value in new releases. People made comment. I respond to what people say, man. So, no, it's the bad value morning stream. You're basically paying a lot of money for substandard miniatures. At least in my opinion. I love the Eldar miniatures in the set, but they're also way grossly inflated compared to what they are. Like, you know, you gotta remember, they're basically giving you they're going to give you a total of 5 to 6 sprues per side. So for 5 to 6 sprues per side, you're going to be paying £60. That's a lot of money per sprue. It's a lot of money per sprue. Is it worth that money to you? It's not worth that money to me. I won't pay that money for it. I wonder when Castle and Crow will be available on his own. Ah, yes. The great tragedy of life. I expect to see Castle and Crow available probably before March. So we'll probably see him next month, maybe at the beginning of March. It's been a while since he was released, but I expect to see him soon. Yes. As someone who hunts for very old models and rescues models on eBay a lot, I don't care. I love all minis. I don't. You know why? Because I've done this for 28 years, and in those 28 years, I know Chaos isn't selling as well as it used to, but maybe if GW Primaris them, they might make second most popular again. Yeah, that would be my argument. I would argue that if you have bad rules but good models, your models will continue to sell during the bad times. I want to point something out to people. Tau, this is something a lot of people don't realize, are the highest selling Xeno army for Games Workshop. Tau had terrible rules in 7th and 8th edition. And 9th edition. How is it that they were the highest selling army for the Xenos all the way up till now? Even in years where Orcs get released, Tau routinely sold out. Tau routinely sold well. They actually have the highest level of adoption for new users who aren't getting into Space Marines. Why is that? Because the models are nice. This is just like, it's not hard to figure out. Well, even if the Chaos models were nice, which I disagree with, they are not nice in comparison to their Space Marine counterparts. So people look at the Space Marines, they look at the Chaos Space Marines, and they go, why would I spend more money on worse models? And they buy the Space Marines. Some of them even convert them into Chaos Marines or paint them as their favorite Chaos Legion. But people will buy the models that are the better deal, that look better. It's not hard to figure out. Lower price on Chaos Kit. They have less models, less weapons options, less poses, more trim. Same price, bro, if not more. Models are forever, rules change, and that's an even bigger problem. Because again, those Tau models are, in my opinion, nicer, older kits in some cases, and they sell well. They outsell Chaos Space Marines. You know, all of this shit people talk about Tau. Oh, Tau bad, Tau this, Tau that. Well, Tau are an incredibly high selling range that outsell Chaos Space Marines now. Something I never thought I'd live to see. Space Marines were at the top of any lists when I started playing from 4th to 8th, and they've always seemed to do alright. Yeah, because the models are nice. But making Chaos the same size as Primaris wouldn't make any sense. Havoc shirt. No, I actually disagree. I think you could just make up mutations for all of them. Just make them have a different role, different function. Havocs are just mutated Chaos Space Marines. Why can't they all be mutated? Doesn't have to even be mutated like Havocs. You could make the armor look different on every set and just make them the same size as the Primaris Marines. Why not? The only thing holding them back is basically what? Having good models for Chaos Space Marines? I think that's the only thing. Because right now they're smaller models with a worse footprint. Now everything should be mutated. Oh, well, I mean, at the end of the day, dude, like, they're mutated anyway. If you looked at these guys' armor, this guy's not mutated. He's very clearly mutated. Gods bless them with height. It's not just height, it's chonk, too. They don't have the chonk. They're all mutated to a degree. They've been blessed by Chaos and likely spend the time in the warp. I agree. Mutation should be a choice, not forced on the buyer. Again, Alfarius, unfortunately, I got to point out to you that Chaos as an army range has collapsed as a sales force for Games Workshop. So something is wrong, and I would argue something is not just wrong with the rules, something is wrong with the miniatures. Because you can literally trace back the collapse of the entire army range from even before they got their new models to the moment that the Imperial Marines got Primaris. The moment the Imperials got Primaris, these guys just became second-rate Space Marines, and people don't buy them. And they shouldn't buy them. Because this is not even equivalent to a Phobos Marine. What am I supposed to say to that? Let's not get too crazy here, Andrew Thomas. Those squats might be almost as big as these guys. Lore-wise, mutations aren't chosen by the blessed. They're chosen by the gods. I agree with that, Tuppy. Mutations for legions, but renegades are just going through their emo phase and need spiky trim. When I say mutations, I'm not talking about tentacles spewing out of them. If you look at the Havoc Chaos Space Marine, they're not sitting there with tentacles oozing out of them. They're just big chonky Marines with big chonky armor. By the way, Havocs wear Primaris armor. They're just fucking Primaris Marines. So when I say they're mutated, they're just big. Like it's like, this is not hard. Like, have we ever shown you guys this before? It's not hard. They're just Primaris Marines. That's all they are. That's their mutation. Their mutation is that they're Primaris Marines. They wear Primaris armor and they are Primaris sized. Behold the ultimate mutation of chaos. So, let's do this. Yeah, that's the ultimate mutation. Is just to be a regular chaos, a regular Space Marine at this point. Bloated in the warp, like, it's not even bloated in the warp. Like, look at this guy. So how can you tell that he's a Primaris Marine? Look at the leg greave. That is a Primaris leg greave, just with some decoration put on top of it. Again, Primaris leg greave, Primaris side armor, same type of plating you would normally see on a Primaris Marine. He has a Primaris scaled chest. The chest armor is Primaris armor. This is just a Primaris Marine. They call them mutated in the book. They're just Primaris Marines. That's all they are. The model is a Primaris model. How do Death Guard scale? Death Guard are actually the same size as these guys. They're the same size as Chaos Marines. They're just fat. I actually don't like the Death Guard or Thousand Suns either. But I think that, they're at least more unique looking, so they don't get as bad of a grade. But yeah, quite literally, the Havoc Marines are literally just Primaris Marines. That's what they literally are. Everything about them. Except for their backpacks are a bit bigger. They're the same width. They're the same height. They're the same armor type. Like, calling them mutated is not even cool, dude. Like, look at this armor type. Look at that armor. It's the same armor. It's just got chaos decorations on it. You can see for yourselves. Don't worry, Abaddon the Armless will strike fear into the Pyram on behalf of his little person brothers. His little person brothers! Oh no! So, like, at the end of the day, these are the best models in the Chaos range. Like, these guys here are literally the best models in the Chaos range. They're the best proportioned. They're the best, they're the best model in the range. I don't think that that's a good thing. I think that this should have been the standard template for all of them. Because as soon as you basically just give me these guys, like, they didn't update the regular Space Marines. I don't like Terminators more because they're not that big. Yeah, they're big, but they're just Terminators. They're not Primaris. I know. I'm saying the dirty word. You realize people are used to get burned for speaking this much truth? Oh, I'm getting burned, dude. I've already getting burned. Like, I know Alfarius quite well. I know I've probably upset him. I'm not trying to, but it's just, it's just, this is how I feel, right? No need for squats. We already have them in Chaos. No, we have them in the regular Mini Marines, too. What if new Chaos Marines are just squats wearing power armor? I mean, it looks that way. Chaos Terminators should be bigger. Nice. Can get this kit to make a Primaris Tactical Devastator unit. Yeah, because that's what they are. They're literally just Primaris, dude. So, like, anytime I've heard people say, well, they can't have Primaris, they literally have Primaris. Like, they literally already have these things. That's the part that drives me crazy. Yeah, like, I'm a word bearer, dude. Like, that's the thing. People don't fully know my history in some cases. I had 10,000 points of word bearers, man. I played word bearers from 2000 to 2017. Word bearers were my army of choice. Squats will be bigger than the Chaos Marines. Maybe. You never know. Good morning, High Marshal Miles and Whalecome. The Citrix Maledictum should have made Chaos Space Marines bigger. Anything should have. The duffel bag of destruction, baby. I'm annoyed, yes, but this is just one of those things that we will always disagree on, which is fine. Yeah, I agree. You know, like, again, like, you know, people are free to buy these things, but I just want to point out that, like, the sales don't lie. Like, at least in my view, like, you know, if we're going to have a market-based system where people buy what they think is good, and it's not all rules, these guys used to be the number 2 product for all of Games Workshop. That's the thing that you, like, that I don't think a lot of people newer to the game don't fully get. There were 2 main product lines from Games Workshop, Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines, and everything else just floated around them in the periphery. One of those things continues to be a primary focus of the company and continues to be the biggest seller for the company. The other one is edging on the dustbin of history. What happened? The big thing that happened started in 7th but evolved into 8th edition. What happened is these guys got these models, and these guys and the other guys got these models. Like, you can even see the difference in front of my face when I put them up there. They're just small. They're just little boys. It's boys to men. He's up to his shoulder. He's not even up to his head. And you know what? I think that, again, bad rules will not stop good models from being bought. The Tau proved that. Even the Space Marines proved that. The Chaos Space Marines did not get the same benefit. Because as soon as people saw what the other guys got, they went, why am I playing these things? And they moved on. They kept getting nerfed in the lore and rules as well, mate. Yeah, absolutely. So they've got bad lore, bad rules, and bad models. It's a trifecta of incompetence. Alfarius, he's a little boy. He's literally 2/3 the width of that man. And for the same money. I gotta pay the same money for that. It's not a good look, man. I've painted both. I've gone through. I've literally painted both of them. I can say from my personal experience, easier to paint, better results on the other end. There's just not really much more you can say about that. It's easier to paint this thing, and you get better benefits on the other side of it. I wish it weren't the case. I really do. Because I actually would prefer these guys. I would prefer if I could build an entire army of Havoc-scaled Chaos Space Marines with new weapons. I'm not going to get that. And that makes me mad. Because I don't want shit. Smaller Marines can fit in Rhinos and Land Raiders, not only in the lore but in the game, so shit the Primaris can lore drop, use drop rods and Land Raiders but not the game. I know, right? That's just marketing. Easier to paint just means less of a challenge and thus not interesting to paint. I disagree with you entirely, my friend. I find them both. I find one of them actually more interesting to paint. I would actually argue the Chaos Marine is more tedium than actual like skill in that respect. Mini Wargaming Dave came in at the right time. Oh yeah, absolutely. He is gonna actually actively harm Games Workshop sales. 100%. There will be... How many people backed that Kickstarter? I didn't check that. How many backers does that thing have? Thousands, I bet, doesn't it? The Ravaged Star Army. So, 2,500 backers. 2,500 backers raising $728,000. This thing is going to crack 1 million in no time. They've only had this thing up for... They've got 2 days left to go. Yeah, they might crack 1 million. Maybe. The number still goes up the whole time. But when you look at these things, they're all Primaris scaled. What's the big popular thing that people are doing when they're getting... Look at what Artel W does. His Chaos stuff, which sold very well, all Primaris scaled. Why are they doing it? Why is it Primaris scaled? You know why. Like, we know why these things are happening. The third-party people who are looking to fill the void that Games Workshop has left by releasing bad models have figured it out. They're all trying to fill that niche. They're trying to get that money. Because there is money there. Because it used to be the second biggest thing that they sold. It was the second biggest lineup that they sold. And now it's nowhere. It's not even... I guarantee you. Well, I know for a fact that Tau outsell them. It's likely that Orcs outsell them. I almost think that Sisters might outsell them at this point. Like, that's not an insult to Sisters of Battle. It's to give some perspective. That this is an army that used to sell 20 times the volume of Sisters of Battle, and now I'm willing to bet that Sisters are on par or outsell them. What do you do with that? It's an army for no one. It's in my opinion, anyway. Good morning, Vargas. Gotta say, I like these new Eldar models. Yeah, they look nice. I just won't pay that much money for them. Yeah, when the Dice guys got into 40k, no one picked a regular non-Death Guard Chaos Space Marines. Absolutely, they didn't. Gotta say though, I like those. Oh yeah, sorry. It's not Primaris scale. Primaris are just. Oh, nah, they're not true scale. Oh, I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. But I just call them Primaris scale, man. That's just easier for me. My old man eyes, my old man brain can't handle it. I'm dying. My brain is breaking down, sonny. Excellent. But yeah, this is what it is. True, every day a new goal reached. Every day a new thing are coming. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Do you get anything backing them? Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here, I suspect. Oh, yeah, look at all these extra things. I think they had stretch goals. They've got more stretch goals. Yeah, they're at 15 of 19 unlocked for stretch goals. So there's 4 more things that might come. I didn't back the mini wargaming stuff because, to be honest, man, I don't want to build a bunch of resin minis. I don't like resin very much. If these were plastic, I would get them, but I think they're resin. Oh, no, they are plastic. Wow. Wow, they are plastic. Wow. These are plastic? Huh.
And this is Rapid Star, Armies of the Vantrilian. I've been playing miniature war games for just under 2 decades, and I've seen
Ha! I've played longer than you, Dave. Fuck you.
plastic. It makes me happy. It's an addiction. I'm aware of it, and if you're watching this video, you're probably right there with me. When I first saw the miniatures made by Lazy Spider Games, I thought, come on, who are these guys? What human creates this stuff? I saw their renders, and I thought, they're spectacular. But what do the minis look like in real life? And then when I actually saw one of the minis in real life, I thought, what is this? This much awesomeness is not allowed to be in one game. So when I had the opportunity to work with them, and they asked me if I could make any miniatures I wanted, what would I create? I told them I want to make proxies to play in my favorite miniature work. But I didn't just want to copy what had already been done. I wanted to make something unique, something scarier, more menacing. An army that looked like they had been to hell and back.
Wow.
Loyal soldiers of the Vanguard, the Veil-Touched are corrupted soldiers, hell-bent on destroying any and every planet within their vast reach.
This is a reaction stream now, boys.
Onslaught of support this project has earned. We listened and gave you what you asked for. More. Take a look at this master. It's a pre-production model used to make bolts. The detail is outstanding. I couldn't be happier with it. There are now over 130 Rapid Star miniatures for you to add to your collection.
Wow.
We have even more surprises that'll be revealed each day during the campaign. Click back this project now. Take a look at what you're gonna get. Happy wargaming and enjoy yourself.
Wow. Well then, look out, GW. Oh boy, look out, boys. Look out, boys. It's like, let's take one look at it. Look out, boys. You know what, man? People vote with their wallets, Alfarius, and $750,000 is not a small amount of money in this business. In this business, $750,000 is a lot of money in this business. I still don't know if I can justify doing it, but I mean, looking at these models, I mean, look at these guys compared to what you're currently getting. Like, again, they don't match the aesthetic of Warhammer 40,000, which I do think is a bit of an issue. But, you know, you compare these guys to this sad lot right here. Yeah, it's a bit too style. I agree with you, Alfarius, but I'm just saying, you know what? If scale is your biggest thing, yeah, like, you know, as I said, for myself, they're not really what I would like in them. But, again, I have to point out, though, more importantly, for me personally, it's more of an issue of, like... It's more of an issue that, like, I hate the scale of these fucking things so badly. I actually resent these models. Like, I don't give a shit about this thing. You guys want to see them? I don't give a shit. Like, that's the thing. I genuinely don't give a shit about my Chaos models. So, like I'm at the point beyond caring about them because I got something better from the same company. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Who needs these things? Like, they're just not worth anything to me. Like, I use them to abuse them sometimes. I don't throw them out yet. Like, but that might even be on the horizon one day in the future if I need space, because they're worth very little to me. I don't like selling my models. I already sold all of my unassembled ones. I've got a bunch of assembled ones. I don't care. Like, you know, I might sell them. I might chuck them. I might do whatever. They have zero value to me at this time. You know, some of the character models might have some value because I customized them. Other than actual brand new units and customization sprues, I would say brand new units are the only way to fix Chaos Space Marines. Until they get the same treatment the regular Marines got with a new range of models, and not just a redo of old models, they are basically not worth they're not worth the plastic they're made out of. They're just not. They're an old army. They're an old, bad army. They weren't good in 5th edition. You're playing 5th edition Chaos Space Marines perpetually. And, like, you know, just even looking at what Mini Wargamer Dave's doing here, and good on him. God bless him. But, like, you know, it's not... they're very stylized to avoid being sued. Let's be very real here when we say that. That's the truth. But you know what, man? Like, you look at those models, at least somebody tried to do something. Because, shit, this whole range is a disaster. It's a disaster of an army range. Like, this is the truth. People can get mad at me all they want. The sales don't lie. The sales show that they're a disaster. The lack of these models appearing on tables across the world shows they're a disaster. I'm not crazy. I have to stress it. I'm not crazy. But, like, of course they're a disaster. How can you not think they're a disaster at this point? It's a clear and utter disaster. If you like the models, that's perfect. I don't want to take that away from you. But I'm saying from a perspective of a broad product currently being consumed, it ain't being consumed. And if they were good models, people would buy them no matter what. Sanguinius is Resin 2, though. Sanguinius is a bad model. There goes Arturus Warrior of the Word Bearers. The best counted adversaries fought 1,000,000 battles. Too bad he didn't drink his milk. Pick up that taller Maru. Don't want poor Ares to eat him by accident. Yeah, it might make Ares sick for him to eat this piece of shit. That's what a crazy person would say. The only reason Sanguinius defeated Cabanda was because Cabanda was made of resin. He is a massive wings fell off. I'd be tempted if I didn't have other projects to go on. I'm only a casual player and I like the aesthetic personally. So you're big into the... Was that Mini Wargamer Dave's aesthetic, or was that the regular Chaos Space Marine aesthetic, Robert Saxon? Don't you mean gods bless him? No, clearly they don't. I've run Renegade Chaos Space Marines in 2nd edition with standard Marines converted of just doing Renegade Marines with weapon swaps. Maybe it should be it should be fine. Firstborn Chaos Marines are target practice. Ooh. Marcus the guy. Oh, sorry. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Chaos Space Marines winning any tourneys. Wow. Wow, you don't say. Dominion equals selling fast. You know it. Dominion. Good morning, you big sexy bear. Oh, look at me. Look at this beautiful body with the fat all over it. Yeah, like, at the end of the day, for me, the biggest problem is the scale. I think the scale of them is awful. Again, I think that they should just release new units. At this point, they should, but they don't want to admit that they screwed up and that they've thrown away all of this investment. They're trying to push them, and it's not really working. And I don't think it can work. They will continue to try, though. Good for them for trying. It just means like if you've ever seen a car stuck in the mud where the tire spins and the mud just spits out, that's all it's going to be. I don't expect them to do well in their new codex either. I don't expect the rules will save them. I don't expect these new chosen will save them. Like, there's usually a lot of like anticipation when people are seeing a new model, like, oh my god, new Gravis Captain, and it gets like 6,000 upvotes or whatever. The Chaos Space Marine's got a couple thousand, so even then it's muted support from a dying community, and like, it's really rough because I've overseen that community die. I was a part of it. It's sad. It is genuinely sad. I sat there and watched as they killed something that was a rock star. It was even a rock star after they started killing it in 5th edition. It still sold well. It still sold well all the way through to 7th edition. People were willing to go to war with their Chaos Space Marines at their side. And it's not until the end of 7th where people finally were like, it's just not worth it anymore. How long do you have to spend buying into a faction that doesn't do anything for you? And they would still at least have a turnover of new players because they had comparable models to the Marines. Well, once the Marines got great models and the Chaos Marines didn't, you have no turnover of new players. It's a vacuum for new players. No new So there used to be a pipeline that would get people into Chaos Space Marines, and usually Space Marine players would turn over to Chaos Space Marine players. So it wasn't just new players. It'd be like, oh man, look at those guys. Those speak to me. So some guy was playing Ultramarines, and he's like, you know what? I want to play Iron Warriors, or I want to play Alpha Legion. And he'd just flip. And then you'd stick on the Chaos side as a veteran. They'd typically be better players, too. This is a real thing. Because they were experienced from playing Space Marines, and then they would go over to play Chaos Space Marines to get that little bit of extra grit. And that system is very much broken. And it will not be healed. And it can't be healed. It's been destroyed. So that means now it's an army that has to sell on its own merits, and it can't. I didn't make it that way. I didn't break the chain. Abaddon, some cultist and Forge World... I saw that where it was Abaddon with a bunch of cultists and 6 Forge World monsters won a tournament last year. I remember that. Everyone was surprised. Everyone across the internet was like, how? And then when we read the list, it's a Space Marine list. In Real Life Heresy, absolutely. Yeah, I just decided to wait for Eldar to be released separately as I couldn't see me using the Chaos half of the set. Disappointing. Same went for Heavy Intercessors Kill Team box with Necrons. Yeah, absolutely. The Heavy Intercessors are a bad deal too. Eventually all fall to Chaos. Well, not anymore, Jorg. I went from playing Chaos Space Marines to playing Imperial Guard because I love the Basilisk too much. Hey, fair enough. But yeah, there was so much there, man. There was so much there. And they've just... it's just been mismanaged for so long. I mean, part of the reasons why you guys can get me onto this stupid subject is because, I've got so much experience and I've seen it happen for so long. I saw it happen over the course from, 2006, I think is around where it is. 2006, 2007 through to 2017. I watched it all unfold over a 10-year period. And now it's 15 years. 15 years of just watching them just get annihilated. Just watching them damage a major fundamental part of their own business. Of course I can rant about it because I used to love these things. Got to go to interesting discussion. Catch you another time. Have a great day, Robert. Thank you very much for joining us. But you'll notice the bad value morning stream, of course, turns into Chaos Space Marines because people goaded me into it. I was originally just talking about the bad value of, the box as a whole, and instead it goes, yeah, but I bet you think the chosen models are amazing. No, I don't. How dare... I bet that they're great scale! Ah! It descends! Ah! It's like, you know it had to happen this way. It's like, you know, I just think that bad models don't really do well. I'll ride till I die, Chaos. Luckily, I don't currently play the game. Well, you know what? To be fair, I'm not playing the game much either. RT, it's not the game. It's not the rules that keep me out of Chaos Space Marines. It's the models. I think the models are substandard. I actually feel bad about buying my Chaos models. I really do. York, oh, fall to Chaos. Yeah, well, after they get the tumor, the brain tumor. And if there's going to be a Space Marines 2.0, it'll just make it worse because it's looking like the rules refresh rather than being needed due to the release of 9th. Yep. Especially because Chaos Space Marines aren't even a low-tier army right now. No, sir, regular Space Marines aren't even a low-tier army right now. So when they get reboosted, they're just going to absolutely curb stomp them. Yeah, Steve, that was a long time ago. That was 18 years ago that they could do that. Just seen Eldritch Omen's box listed for £125, not 105, more reasonably over. Yeah, it's more overpriced than Shadow Throne. RIP. Guys, I know there's only 21 of you in here right now, but if I could get an F in the chat for Eldritch Omens. You guys, we need an F in the chat for Eldritch Omens. F in the chat, my friends, because Eldritch Omens is dead on arrival. Give them the Activision salute. Dead on arrival. Deserves to be dead on arrival. £125. Major F on arrival. In Canada, where I am, it's going to be a $240 to $250 box set. No. In the States, I guess that means 210 USD. You boys in America want to spend 210, maybe 220 USD on that boy? You guys sounding good with that? F in the chat for the Chaos Space Marines. F in the chat for the Omens, my dude. And you know what? There's not enough Eldar players to float that box set alone. And you know what? I don't even think it gives good value to Eldar players. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, probably be over 300 AUD, dude. I'm only bet it'll be like 290, 300 AUD. You're getting a discount on some bad models, man. Unless you're playing Eldar, in which case you're not getting enough of them. Double F for the Aussies and Kiwis who might have wanted this too. Yeah, like, it's bad value. Like, so if you're an Eldar player, is £125 worth it for you to get 9 models? Oh, Bronze Cossack. Whalecome, Bronze Cossack. Whalecome to the big red 40k channel. We're always happy to see new faces here. I'm going to post our Discord for you, my friend. Oh, getting messages. I don't like the messages. I don't like them messages. Them messages are bad. Alright, sorry, 1 second here. We're going to drop the invite in the Discord. If you want to join us on Discord, please do so. I recommend it. It's a great deal of fun, I promise. I promise. We're going to be doing many things now. You will have much of the fun. Kill Team is getting a box versus Corsair Chaos Cultists. Yeah! Oh. Is that really what they dropped? Did they drop that already today? No, they haven't dropped anything yet. Oof. The FOMO in the transfer sheet won't save the box from... it's the Eldar Psychic Awakening box all over again. Absolutely. I think that this box is going to be a disaster. Which means, effectively, what does this mean for Games Workshop? Genuinely, what does this mean for Games Workshop? Yeah, it got leaked, but I don't think it listed the cultists specifically. It listed Chaos Space Marines versus Corsairs. But, and I mean this with all sincerity. If we look at what is going to be happening with these box sets, Chosen are going to be Sword Brethrens, but worse, and the Brethren kind of suck. They're basically shitty Sword Brethren, RT. Except for they're small. They're small, shitty sword brethren. Tells them not to branch out into Xenos. It's not just that. It tells them not to branch out into anything Imperial, but the problem is they're just giving people a bad deal. So if we look at Wake the Dead, how many years ago was that? The 2018? I think it's 2018 for Wake the Dead, 4 years ago, right? Wake the Dead gave me 2 Wave Serpents, 2 squads of Guardians, a squad of Wraithguard, and a Wraithbone. No, not Wraithbone, and a Wraith Seer, basically. Not Wraith Seer, but like, the Seer who helps out the Wraithguard. Spirit Seer. As well as a Lieutenant, a unit of Incursors, a full unit of 10 Intercessors, and 5 Reavers, okay? That's what that army box was. That army box cost me 180 Canadian dollars. It was 90 pounds. It was a 90-pound box. 90 pounds. You get more you get more units and more models for less money, including a fucking vehicle. Get out of here. With a badly priced old demon engine nobody wants, a bunch of mini marines. To be fair, the Warpsmith looks pretty good. I wouldn't mind owning one of those. So you've got one properly scaled Chaos Space Marine with five goobers and a crappy demon engine. And then on the other side, you have 5 very fragile Rangers, and I don't mean their miniatures are fragile, I mean that they're fragile in game, 3 mediocre bikes, and a cool Autarch. But you're going to charge 250 Canadian for that? It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. I want the engine. I don't have that model yet. It's a bad model. Full disclosure, Argo, it is a bad model. They value new models so much higher than their old stuff, which makes the new flashy ones so overpriced. Yeah, but they don't. It's not going to work this time. I don't think that there's a huge appetite for people to absorb that type of money for stuff that's just not really there for them. They're not giving people the quantity of miniatures required for them to actually consume this product at that price. So look at realistically, it's a token a Chaos / Eldar release before they drop into the Eldar Combat Patrol. I don't think those are all dropping into the Combat Patrol even. Remember the Eldar Christmas box where you'd get a Wraith Knight, 2 Wraith Lords, 3 squads of Wraithguard, and a Spirit Seer? Yeah, dude! Oh boy! And for the same price is what you're going to get this box set for. No, it's a little more. I think it was 300. I think it was 150. Still, they have the power to sell these box sets at better prices. They know they can. But they have progressively made the box sets worse in price because they're trying to add an element of exclusivity to them rather than giving people a reasonable deal. And that can't continue, and it won't continue. I need to make that very clear. This is going to be a short... Like, they're in for a crash because the resellers themselves are not going to float these things anymore. They got trapped with Dominion. They got trapped with the new Shadow Throne box because that wasn't very popular. This box set's going to be another unpopular one. Even though Kill Team did well, there's still some copies of Kill Team out in the wild. Like, how many of these things can these guys get trapped with and still keep the money flowing at the third-party level where most of the sales are happening? It's just not possible. So there's going to have to be a restructuring of how they do this. I'm not just saying that because I want better deals for consumers. Of course I want better deals for consumers, but they also need to be real with who their clients are and what the ability to buy these boxes are from the third-party sellers and from the general public. It's just not possible. Wasn't Black Templars, I think that Black Templars, I think, sold okay, but it took longer than expected to sell. So all of these box sets have not been moving at the rate that they've wanted them to. But some of them are exceptionally not moving at the rate that they want them to, especially the Age of Sigmar ones. Because like that new Age of Sigmar box, that's going to be another turd for the resellers to hold on to indefinitely. They might as well just call the resellers their partnered warehouses. Because that's just where they're sending the warehouse stock to go sit instead of in their own warehouse. Because that's really what it looks like to me anyway. My local hobby store, which is the largest city in the city for GW stuff, totally eclipsed the local GW. Only a total of 4 pre-orders, 2 of which are for one guy who collects both. Yeah, that's so sad. Gotta hope they actually see what the problem is and not come up with a BS corporate excuse instead of blaming their practices. Well, you have to understand that we don't know enough about the internal politics at Games Workshop right now to be able to tell you who's responsible for these prices. We don't know if it's at the higher level, like CEO, like Mr. Roundtree. We don't know if it's the head of sales. We don't know if it's the marketing department. We don't know if it's the games department. I suspect it's probably their head of sales, who basically has been running these types of operations, hoping that they're going to be successful because they were successful in 2020. But this is not going to continue to be successful. Kevin Roundtree, again, I have a lot of positive things to say about Kevin Roundtree. He came up with the idea of selling a lot of box sets like Wake the Dead, where he's like, we got to give people good value because it will grow the business, and it did. And now they've moved over to this new business model. It doesn't grow the business. Just doesn't do it. I can tell you that GW has internal community. We all know that. Absolutely. They absolutely do. My local hobby store still has several boxes of the last big Night Haunt box. Oh, my nuts! So I imagine this box will gather dust as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to see them do well. I want these boxes to sell. These boxes should sell. But they shouldn't sell at this price. Even though it would be a worse deal even to sell them for 180 Canadian or £90, they should be £90. This box is overpriced by almost £40. Is anybody going to give you a £40 discount on it? I don't think they will. It's just too much to ask for what you're getting out of the box. And it's a real damn shame to see it happen. They should not be doing this. They've made a very big mistake. Even with inflation, you have to remember they're selling less units in the box than they would have sold in Wake the Dead. So that's factoring in inflation. This box should be £90. They're not going to recall these box sets. They will not do that. Once they're in the wild, that's where they're going to stay because they're not GW's problem anymore. But what I would say for them is they should really not sell at this price. It's like the Black Templar Boxed Army. Did that not do well? I thought that did okay for some reason, but I guess it floated in the wild for a while. I thought the Boxed Army was not a good deal, to be honest. I thought the Combat Patrol was a better deal. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty bad deal. I'd just buy the Combat Patrol if I wanted this. Ooh. A lot of these box sets, which are supposed to be value, meaning like, oh yeah, you get a good deal. It's exclusive. They just don't move. They just don't move. They don't sell. My local GW is sending his Black Templar boxes back to GB to be destroyed. Oh, really? There's still 2 boxes of Black Templar limited edition run sat in my local store collecting dust. I see Black Templar armies in a few stores, though the number of models in that box are beyond disappointing. Yeah. With their own stock, they will rebox them later, but the ones sent out to the other shop owners will gather dust until the local discount them enough. Yes, later. Yeah, they'll sell them at a loss, because you have to remember the retailers don't make enough on this stuff, so they'll have to sell them at a loss to move them. Wow. That's brutal. I know one store with 1 Black Templar box left, and Dominion's gonna be out for 20 years. Felix, Dominion is going to be out for 20 years. Dominion is the box set that will sell fast until the end of time. My FLGS still has a Black Templar box, Shadow Throne, and Kill Team Octare. I thought Kill Team actually sold quite well. I know there are still boxes of it out there, but they made a lot of them. They made a lot of Kill Team. So, of course, there are still some out there, but they made a lot of them, and it sold quite well. There's a lot of Kill Team that made it into the wild. The Dominion box is like half price as well. Oh wow. Well, I mean, Dominion is never going to move it. I don't even think that's the case, Steve. I think it's just a shit box for a shit game. At least they've got the right idea with 40k starter sets, recruit and elite boxes to entice new players in the game. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Finny. They should actually look at that model, though, for selling these box sets. They really should. I find it amusing that the only GW range in my local area that sells more than my local store can stock is Necromunda. Yeah, Necromunda's a great range. It's a great game. If I were the wealthiest man, I'd go into my local shop and buy all those dust-covered boxes just to help him out. Please, please, Hank, here you go. I'll take these off your hand. What are you going to do? We're going to burn them in my backyard. We're going to burn them in my backyard. I just don't want you to suffer anymore, man. You don't need to suffer the way that you're suffering, dog. You don't need to be down and out this way, man. Oh boy. Oh boy. So guys, give me a second. I'm just going to run and grab a drink. So I'm going to leave up Mini Wargaming Dave's page here for his Kickstarter, because why not? We might as well see something positive on the screen here while I'm gone. So I will put this up here, and I will be back in about 2 minutes. I'm just going to go run downstairs and grab a drink. All right. We're back in action. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Send him into the double back of destruction. Ravage Star. Might get the Fox Terminators in the box. I like the thickness. Yeah, everything in there is good, dude. For the Fox Terminators. The Vice Lord, I think, looks really good. I love their evil raptor guy. Yeah, I think, you know, it's not perfect by any means, but, like, at least they're doing something. At least somebody's trying to fill that niche. You know, let this be a lesson to GW. You know, if, I think, my friend, one of my friends said it best, which was, if you don't mow your lawn, someone else will, in regards to, your marriage. So if you're not doing it, someone else is going to do it, and then you're going to get divorced. So, oh boy. So, yeah, no, like, I think that stuff like this and stuff like Artel W stuff is a big wake-up call to poor old man GW. Where, like, yeah, people... There's a real craving for the bigger scale and the chaos stuff, for that thickness, for that chunk, and they're just not giving it to people. It's real. It's a real shame. It really is, and I say that no kayfabe, no bullshit, right? Let's see here. Let us see here. I'm going to go to Artel W page. I think he had to get rid of his Night Lords part of it, unfortunately. But if I remember correctly... Oh, did he get rid of the categories on this page? Oh, that's so painful. Why you do this to me, Artel? Why you hurt me like this? Oh, sort by. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I'm like, oh, why you hurt me? No! Yeah, you had to get rid of all of his, No, wait. No, maybe there's some of them on here still. No! Yeah, he had to get rid of all of his Chaos Marines. Oh, that's such a shame. At least he's still got his Corrupted Sisters. Yeah, I know the pain. You know what? I have 2 of the Night Lords, Chaos Lords he made, and they're sitting in boxes still. Yeah, I have 2 of this one. I will put this up in screen for everybody to see. You know, I'm still committed to the cause, baby. I'm still committed to the cause, baby. So, I have 2 of these guys. Love this model. I have not put this together yet, though. It's sitting in a box, sitting in an Artel W box. We got deuces, boys. We got deuces. Just a beautiful model. It just is. Yep, just beautiful. And so you'll notice, why did I buy this? I bought this because it's a beautiful model. You know, you'll notice that I'm not talking about poor brother Frank here being too beautiful. Yep. They don't want to give it to you. So you're not going to get it. Oh, so you can still get them through KF Studios, apparently? I've never heard of those guys before. But, either way. Oh no, move my camera around. No, camera, no. Camera, no. There we go. Hey, Bear, I hate to be the broken record, but can I get you to PM? No! Never! You'll never get this from me. That's fine. I'll send it to you now. Just give me 1 second before I forget. No! No, Vulcan! No! How dare you! There you go. It's all yours, Vulcan. Oh, fine. I'll just send your mother to Mitchie then. It is resin, Jorg. But I don't mind resin for individual smaller scale models. What's the one thing the Chaos range has going for it, Christopher? You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me what's the good news, brother. What's the good news? Yeah, there's a lot of third-party manufacturers and bits, but you know, even on the bits side of things, Christopher, I've seen a marked decline in new bits coming out for them. I really have. There's not been a marked decline in the Imperial side, but on the Chaos side, like, it's just not the same as it used to be. Oh, cool! I didn't know he was doing Fire Warriors. Is he doing Fire Warriors right now? No. Oh wow, he's doing some cool worm mount for his Starborn Exiles. No, it's 2021. It's so sad. I never got his Talos model, which I really wish I had. I just wish GW would at least brought a decent upgrade sprue on a more frequent basis, especially for Night Lords. Sorry, man, it ain't gonna happen. Like, especially now, ironically enough. So, the less they pour into them, the less they pour into them, the less well they sell. The less well they sell, the less willing they are to put any assets into them. See the problem, Byron? So, like, they're super uninterested in that, I suspect. Ah, Fire Drakes. Yeah. So I really dug their Fire Pike boys. I think those are really nice. The best thing about Alpha Legion is you can paint your Marines in any color and play them as Alpha Legion. Yeah, you can say that, but it's really not the case, unfortunately. I know that people do that jokingly all the time, but like Games Workshop gave you a color scheme for a reason. They expect people to go ahead with it. Oh man, I've got so many Artel W models I haven't finished. Really should. Yeah, it's a shame. I really should have gotten some of these Night Lords when I had the chance, but oh well. Life will go on, my friends. Oh, did their Raid Master expire too? The Voidborn Ancients? No, see, it ain't so. No way. Did the Voidborn Ancients go? Did they have to get rid of the Voidborn Ancients? Please say it ain't so. Oh, thank God they're still there. I might have to buy some of these sooner than later, though. Because I definitely want their Arena Mistress, and I definitely want their Raid Masters. I just don't know if I'm willing to pay for those right now. That's the tough spot. Like, because I don't really like the current Succubus model, and I think this is a beautiful model. Like, this is genuinely a beautiful model. You know what we should probably do? We should probably do a stream once a week at some point, once I've got things sorted out, where we just talk about the third-party miniatures. Where we just go through places like Creature Caster and Artel W and all sorts of places, and just, you know, see what else is on offer from not first party. Because some of this stuff is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I've always been a big supporter of RTLW. I think he does great stuff. This is the one I really want. I wouldn't mind getting 2 of this one. The only thing I don't like about this guy is his helmet, but I might just replace... I would consider just replacing his helmet with a regular Drakari helmet and see how it works. The reason why is because I would like to do this with both a female and a male Archon. Way better than the current one. The current Archon from GW is fine, but it's just, it kind of lacks. They really should have done a more impressive one. What a great series of models. So apparently these are going to expire too. Oof. Just hurts. It's not so much that they're Slaaneshi. Here's the real problem. For me to get the one I would want to get one with that and one like this. So it would cost me $51 there and an additional $17 for her. Oh, $100 right now? Can't do it, boys. I do not think that Games Workshop is going in a family-friendly direction, Marcus. I think that is a incredibly big misnomer of what that company is currently up to. Like, even in their media assets, people are getting pulled apart and blown to pieces. So, like, I don't think that that's the case, man. The only non-family friendly thing, if you're talking about Emperor's Children, again, they just did a whole Slaanesh lineup for Age of Sigmar that's pretty baroque and bleak. Like, we can go to their Grand Alliance of Chaos, Hedonites of Slaanesh, and, like, these things, I don't know about you, but this is kind of nightmare fuel for me. Like, yeah, it's one breast isn't showing, but that's not meaning that this thing's not, like, kind of horrifying, my dude. Doesn't seem all that family-friendly to me. And that's just one model. Like, you know, if we go back over to the rest of the Slaanesh lineup, like, look at this guy. He rides around on a palanquin and eats people. Like, I don't really know how family-friendly that is. He's literally picking people off the platter and he's being fed it by some crazy cultist maniacs. Sigvald also has assless chaps, as Mari rightly points out. Like, you take a look at Sigvald, you want that man booty. Like, it's there for you, dude. He's naked under that armor. He's naked under that armor. Also, Whalecome, Mari. Whalecome to the stream. What are the demons playing Heart Made of Guy's Muscle? Yeah, like, that's going to be in here too under the Hedonites, I'm pretty sure. Actually, let's also bring this up real quick here, you know, for the family-friendly part of this. The Raid Master is only $20 for 28 mace scale one. You may... No, because I would buy 2 Raid Masters and 1 set of slaves, is why I would be doing that. That's why it would go up to $50. So, you know, we go over to this guy. I don't know how family-friendly this guy looks, man. This guy doesn't really look all that family-friendly to me. If you want Slaanesh, you have to go AOS. Yeah, right now, anyway. But, like, even their regular guys, like, I don't know, man. These guys don't seem all that family-friendly to me. And, of course, you know, there's the, oh, do they? Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, look at her. I've got 2 of this one. I've never built and painted them. They're sitting in a box. But look what she's up to, man. Look what she's up to. I don't know how family-friendly this is, man. I don't think I'm going to call this one family-friendly, boys. I don't think we're going to call her family-friendly. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that, man. Oh, look at how gruesome that is. Ding, ding, ding. Ugh. So not only is that making the noise, he's making the noise as she plays him. Oh. Yeah. Oh, that's nasty. So yeah, like, they're not... It's totally family friendly in California. It's in the hills have eyes. It's family friendly. But like, I mean, and that's just one of them, right? Like for real, man, these guys aren't really getting on the family friendly train right now. I don't think, man. Like, yeah, that's why he's screaming. He's the second instrument. The first instrument is his muscles making a beautiful noise, and the second sound is him screaming, I suspect. But, you know, we go over here to Armies of Chaos. You know, you're going to find some bleak sculpts that they've put together here, man, that are not, you know, particularly family-friendly. I mean, Fabius Bile and his little goon here don't exactly... Okay, I could be wrong, but there's nothing... Warlord Games naked fan. Yeah, but the GW's never made naked models, except for one instance where they had six-breasted demonettes, which was an exception. It's the one time in their history where they had that, and that was 20 years ago. You know, GW might tempt me. Yeah, like I love Necromunda, Mari. I think when we talked before, I mentioned it all the time. Necromunda's a great game. It's probably the best game that Games Workshop makes. You know, like, it's definitely in fact, it definitely is the best game that they make. Because Age of Sigmar and 40k aren't very good games at the moment. I love the models, that's what mostly this channel's about. But, the games are, games aren't very good. I want to try out Kill Teams, but I just haven't had time. I've been actually too busy doing this, ironically enough, to really have time to do that. But Kill Teams is nice, supposedly. Some people like Titanicus. I just think it's too expensive. Necromunda is my game of choice from Games Workshop. It is a fantastic game, and I like Blood Bowl too. Blood Bowl is also really good. Carrie Packer. So, who wants to hear the story of Carrie Packer in Necromunda? We're gonna I'll put a poll up. Why not? Why not put poll up? So let's ask everybody here if they want to hear some Necromunda stories. The poll is up. We will have the poll up for 2 minutes. So and once it hits 2:04, the poll will stop. But I'll ask the audience. Not every time do you guys want to hear me just prattle on about the old days. But let's see. Do you guys want some Necromunda stories? Because they're fantastic. Yeah, it's just less titties. I agree. And, like, if titties are what you think are family-friendly or not, I mean, Games Workshop is not really, like... Oh, boy. Like... You know, if that's all you got going on, is like, well, they got the titties. It's like Kenny from South Park. The titties! You know, like, it's like, man, like, that's not the only thing that makes something family-friendly or not. So the overwhelming majority of people have already voted, and have voted yes. So we are going to discuss the Necromunda story. So I built some of the bounty hunters. I think they're called Ventrilian bounty hunters or something like that. Have a great day, Christopher. As always, it's great to have you on stream. So the Ventrilian bounty hunters are... they allow you to kind of build what you want. So I built a team of basically Tempestus Scions, and I had all of them with unique names. I don't remember all of them, but I remember the leader. And I talked to my Australian friend. I'm like, well, who's a bunch of just, like, Australians? I don't mind. You know, if they're mercenaries, I'm going to make them Australian. He's like, there's this guy, and it's like, and you know, you should name me leader, Carrie Packer. And I forget who he is. He's I think he's like either a business guy or a former, like, sports guy from Australia. I'm like, yeah. He's Sir Carrie Packer, and he had a mustache, and there's an item you can buy in the game. I shit you not, it's a bolt pistol, and you can buy gold plating for it. And you're like, well, what does gold plating do to your weapon? Nothing. It just increases the points value of your unit. Because you're basically saying, like, yeah, that's how good I am. I got me gold plated. It's like, well, does it do anything? No. It just means I'm the fucking best, matey. So, like, I got a gold-plated bolt pistol for him. Time to paint a model that Bear hates, tiny little motorcycle marines. Oh, so bad. So I got a gold-plated bolt pistol, and I put him in armor, and he had a power sword, and I called him Sir Carrie Packer, and he was the single biggest badass I ever used in Necromunda. The whole team was in the carapace armor, but he was in carapace. He had his coat over his shoulders, he had his power sword, he had his bolt pistol, and he single-handedly killed like 2 teams by himself as he leveled up throughout the campaign. And the best moment of that campaign was when I was up against my buddy Grant, who is someone who does frequent this channel sometimes. He's a great guy, super big fan of his store. And Grant had brought his Legion of Chaos cultists, and Carrie Packer proceeded to kill 2/3 of his team. It's terrible. And like, because I had the ability where you eventually get it where you don't get knocked over if you get shot. He's walking along, he's got a 2+ armor save on the front based off of how it upgraded him. This one guy comes up from off top, just opens fire with his autogun, ping, 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 turns up, shoots him with the bolt pistol, blows him to pieces. Just blows him to pieces, and you can just see the look of like, oh, this isn't going well, as like, the rest of the battle goes that way. His Psyker, his most powerful unit, is trying to cast something. He gets shot by a lasgun, trips, falls 30 feet, and breaks his neck and dies on the ground. Like, I just sat there, I'm like, whoa. Like, I single-handedly gutted his entire Necromunda team to the point where it never recovered. For the rest of the campaign, I defeated his Chaos Spawn, it ran away, and it ate 3 people after it ran away. You're just sitting there like, what is this? What is happening here? Yes, the only thing that survived, I think, his leader and 3 cultists got away. Everyone else died, and he had like a 12-man crew. And just and in the like, you go to the injury phase. Like, is he injured? Is he not? They all had like mortal injuries where he had to get to a doctor. Where he was in the campaign, he didn't have the money to go to the doctor. So they're just like, "Help me, boss! Help me!" And so just all dying after the battle. He had like one guy get a permanent injury. He got like brain damage or something. So his reaction times went down. I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry about that one, Grant. I didn't really mean for that to happen. Like, so it was amazing. Necromunda is the best game they make. You have to have a campaign of people playing it, though. It needs to be organized. It's not something you can... I don't think it's a game you can just do as a pickup game. It really is... It really does blend between a role-playing game and a tabletop war game. And sometimes you have to reset things. You really do need a ref, somebody to help run it who may not be playing as much. You might be playing an NPC gang, because you really need that kind of in the game to keep everything balanced and to keep everything kind of rolling. But it's a fantastic game. So if you learn anything from this channel today, boys, learn that Necromunda is an incredible game. It really is. Don't shy away from it. Don't get scared of it. It's not only effectively very cheap to get into, because it's really one box for your whole army, but you get to go on these incredible stories. I had Mr. Packer cut down like basically a raging Ogren leader of some like gang, like, you know, massacred him. I think the only game where you like I also have an orc. I had an orc that I put in as a Ventrilian. Hell yeah, it is. You can also kill folks by making the doors. Oh yeah, dude, like you just shoot like a terrain piece and it falls on them and stuff. Oh, it's so good. Like, I love it when people just trip and die. Like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to make a jump. Like, I actually watched this happen more than once, where one guy's like, I'm going to jump between 2 platforms and they're like 40 feet up. He just rolls. This guy just goes down, just breaks his body on the ground. I'm not going to answer that, Frog. I'm not going to answer that. We're not going to answer that at all. But no, like, people would just they would just fail to make a jump, because sometimes you have to just make a skill check to be like, oh, can you jump between these 2 platforms? And you whiff the roll. See you later. No. I would say that Matthew Bureau, Necromunda is a... I haven't played Kill Team, but Necromunda, if you can get a group together, would be what I recommend. I'm still not answering that, Frog. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Or you shoot someone and they slip and fall off. That's what happened with that lasgun. Kills his sorcerer. And you know, we had a joke even after the game where the Chaos Lord's like, oh, or the Chaos Cult leader's like, he may have stopped us this time, brother, but we will have our revenge. And he looks over to his Chaos Sorcerer, who's the second in command. He's like, what did the gods tell you? He just falls over dead. He's like, oh no. He couldn't even buy a new sorcerer. He got stuck with the dead one. He's like, well, I don't really have the credits to get a new sorcerer, and I can't recruit one right now anyway. It's like, oh, so sad. This is depression, the game. You control the entire party. Absolutely. It's Dungeons & Dragons. You control the entire party. But as I said, with a campaign, there really needs to be a ref. You can't let one party just get too far out of control and too far ahead of everybody, or the whole thing just starts to suck. It becomes a feels bad thing. So you really do need it's a community game, and you need to have somebody managing it. Frog says he bought Mitchie off the black market. Well, didn't everybody? Why do you think Mitchie got into this chat? The way you describe Necromunda, Necromunda sounds like D&D, but we've been in Warhammer. It's very much, it's got things in common with that. It's a mixture of Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer. Again, guys, if I could, it's really sad that we couldn't run one through here, but maybe through Tabletop Simulator, maybe we could look into something like that. Maybe doing a Necromunda League for the channel, but I don't know. It's a lot of work to manage a Necromunda League. And so far, I'm spending a lot of time running this channel. It's really the truth. I'm like, oh man, this is a lot of work. So, but yeah, something like that, I would love it. I really would. I would really sincerely love to play more Necromunda. I have not really been able to do much of it lately. The best thing about Necromunda is no. Tuppy, I would not describe those video games as excellent video games. I would not go that far. The Necromunda Gangs, the Gangs game was pretty awful, so I don't agree. No, we're not following you down that dark hole, Tuppy. No. Hired Gun, despite its flaws, is so ridiculously immersive, and the atmosphere is stellar, as is the soundtrack. I'll have to take your word for it. I don't really trust most of the games that come out of that publisher anymore. Hired Gun was budget Doom, or so I've heard. Again, like, for me, it was when that developer, I don't really trust them. I am going to buy Space Marine 2 probably when it comes out, but by and large, I've been burned a lot by the folks at what's its name? Oh, what is their name again? Let me go to the store page here. I've been burned a lot by the people at Focus Home Interactive. I don't trust what Focus is up to. In general, they're not really providing a great Focus is not providing a great 40K experience, in my opinion. What you can do about that is very limited, but in my opinion, they're not really providing much value there. So I'm going to do a bit of hobbying. It's early in the morning, and I know half of you guys hate it when I do hobbying. But if you've enjoyed the stream up until this point, please consider hitting the like button. We need to fight Algaroth, the Lord of YouTube. And we're doing our best, but we can only do so much. We need to fight Algaroth together. So hit the like button. Hit the like button. But other than that, yes, I am going to be doing a bit of hobby stuff. I know, again, you guys aren't all fans of that, but I think it's a beautiful model that we're working on here today, which is my Chaos Knight. He's ever rapidly approaching completion. Don't worry, Mitchie, you won't be missed. He is rapidly approaching completion, and I am having a great deal of fun with him. So, let us continue. Oh, is it only 7? It is only 17 days. Yeah, I know. I'm so hyped, dude. I want it so much. Hobbying is a bad choice when it comes to people following the stream, though, Argo. So even though I agree with you that hobbying is never a bad choice, hobbying is a bad choice for whatever reason. People just hate it when I do this on stream. Just like people flee in droves, like flee for your lives. He's hobbying on stream again. That monster. But yeah, no, it's very good. Very good. We do the hobby on the stream. Die, Algaroth! Take this like rolls D100, right knee, rolls deep. 42 damage. Yes, we are going to defeat Algaroth together. He is no match for us, Algaroth. Of course, you find out after the fact that this whole world is run by Algaroth. You're only existing in it for a moment. Oh, God, I wish there was a new Cyberpunk DLC out sooner than later. I really want to play through it again. Done. Now, let's wait for that to dry for a few minutes. The only thing I can't really finish on stream is going to be this part and this part, because I still have some airbrushing to do on those components. But I think everything other than that is actually starting to get to the point where we're actually going to be able to finish it quite soon. So, the Chaos Knight has lingered for a little longer than I would have liked on stream, but we are actually going to get this guy done pretty soon, which is pretty nice. Six people left as soon as you started hobbying. I told you, man, people don't like the hobbying. They really don't. Like, you know, I enjoy doing it, so we do it as part of our streams, but I always do it as kind of a last piece of a stream. Because like people just up and leave like as soon as the hobbying aspect of the channel starts up, right? Even though I love the hobbying and I point out that like yeah, models are the main reason we do this. Yeah, like once we're on hobby, even though I talk to the chat, even though I'm still interacting, people just leave, man. That's how it works. My hobbying today has consisted of planning out my 2022 hobbying bingo projects with my 30k white scars. It's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, oh yeah, dude, the count is just dropping. Look at that drop. Into the floor. It's like watching somebody get hit with a power bomb. But yeah, no, it's genuinely a like, you know, you can hear the Cyberpunk menu music playing in the background right now. It really is a game that you know, it has not left me, even though I've played it over a year ago. You know, I really want to go back to Night City, but I just need more there for me. You know, if you want to talk about a property that I really wish got more attention, it's that one. Like, and yeah, what a beautiful story that game has. Again, I just can't stress it enough. I'm not here, I left hours ago. Thank goodness. It's not the hobbying, I swear, it's just the bedtime. Good session, Barrett. No, have a good one, Finny. Always good to see you, mate. The count is dropping faster than the Steve Irwin and the Tango and the Stingrays. Yeah, good eye, mate. Let's see here. You're not comparing Epic Chaos Space Marines to Bandai Primaris Marines. Ooh. Zazu. Didn't you have any problems with the massive bugs? No, I didn't. I didn't have any. Yeah, I know, man. It's real sad what happened to Steve Irwin, actually. You know, we joke about it, but it is real sad what happened to him. He was a good man. He really was. I, of course, didn't know the guy, but like, based on like the type of work he did and his approach to life, I think he was a good man, at least from what I know about him. But yes, hello, Christopher. Oh man, we're down to single digits. Look at that. It's almost on cue. It's like, hey guys, we're hobbying here today. We're gonna hobby this morning. Dropping quicker than a prospective 40k fan after seeing the prices. Yeah, man, I gotta write a video up for that too, because we're actually gonna talk about like the loss of value in Games Workshop box sets. That is gonna be something I do for the channel. But no, like Cyberpunk was such a great game. Like I can't stress it enough. Like it was like I'm still in Night City, man. I'm still there. I didn't suffer almost any of those bugs, man. I didn't get any game crashes even. I had one major bug the entire time I played, and it's where I was driving I was playing at launch. I was driving on the road, and the road threw me several kilometers into the air, and my car crashed into the side of a skyscraper and rolled down the side and then was on fire. But I managed to, obviously not die in the crash. So, like, so yeah, like, that's, in terms of memorable, ones, it's the only one I can even remember. And I remember most of my playthrough. I really, really loved that game. It's such a great game. And I feel so bad for the developers and everything that people just shit on it. Like, they don't even care. They don't even care that it's one of the best games ever released. It really is. Like, I don't say that lightly either. I really do mean it. I personally believe it's probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. It's got a transformative story. It takes storytelling to a whole other level than anything I've played before or since. Red Dead 2 was a very similar adventure for me, but it's just something about Cyberpunk speaks to the soul. It's such an incredible game, and it's still with me. It's still with me even now. Even all this time after I've beaten it twice. The characters you meet along the way, V, Pan Am, Johnny Silverhand, all of these characters, all of these lives where you see them all and how the mistakes of their lives and what drives these characters and like where they're going and what their motivations are and what hopes they have for the future. And like in this grim, dark world of Cyberpunk 2077, you've got front row seats to seeing it all unfold, and you make choices based off of what you think these characters would do, and it's genuinely just such an incredible experience. Judy was an okay character. Like, all the characters were great. I personally think Pan Am is a better character than Judy, but they're both good characters. But like, it's an incredible experience to play through, and I just feel so sad that so many people just absolutely savaged that game, and you're just like, man, like, why? Like, why did you savage this game? And there's like, they savaged it because it's weird. They always tell you that they didn't get what they were promised, but you ask them what they were promised, and they can't clearly define to you what they didn't get. And that's the thing that's even more annoying to me. It's like, what do you want? What were you expecting this game to be? And like, in some cases they have ridiculous expectations, like, it's gonna transform my life. You're like, man, this is not like a new reality or something, dude. Like it was a game, you know, and they gave you probably the best crafted game of a generation, and instead of people embracing it, a huge number of people spat in their face, and it's heartbreaking for me to see what ended up happening, you know, and like people who even reviewed the game positively were basically dogpiled and shit on for reviewing it positively. I'm like, man, I played that game. I played it at launch when it was supposedly too buggy, and it is the best game I can remember I've played, at least in terms of like, you know, it's not an RTS or something like that. Give me 1 second, guys. I just have to watch this brush off. Apologies. Let's see here. On a tangent, I got a comment on a stream VOD I put up a while ago where someone had a damn fit because I had a metallic paint on my wet palette. How could you do this? Why? Why would you do this? I don't understand. Why do you hate life? Maybe, but like, I don't know. I don't follow marketing that deep in terms of what they were up to. I thought that they had marketed it quite well. I didn't really get the vibe I was expecting GTA 5 personally from the marketing. Man, are we almost at the point where I can glue this chassis on? I think we are. See, it's all about little steps. You know, when you look at this armored hull, it looks like you know, like it's always been this way, but it's not. I basically put this together over the course of several weeks now, just piece by piece, paint by paint, and it's so nice to see it at this level where I can feel comfortable actually coming through and beginning to add it. Really? They never even really mentioned multiplayer outside of that they might have a multiplayer mode years later. I think a lot of people heard what they wanted to hear too. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things where like it's for me it was a transformative game. It's one of the most transformative pieces of media I've ever played in my life. Hubbing is really expensive no matter what it is. I used to run a saltwater aquarium. I had 3 Force FX lightsabers. I collected a 1/6 scale figures like hot toys. It's just so much. Yeah, yeah. I'm not like as I said. In a lot of cases, viewers are going back up. Are you just are you guys just trolling? No, Evangelion. I remember when I was. I've pointed out to people I'm not necessarily against high prices. I'm against not getting the value of those prices. So if there's a high price for a model, it better be a good model. And if it's a good model, how good does it equal? Like, how good does it have to be to justify a certain price? That's the only thing I would say to you, Evangelion. Just keep trolling. What? The kits that come with tons of extras seem worth it. Monopose doesn't seem worth it for the price. Yeah, monopose isn't always the problem. It's more of an issue, in my opinion, when it's supposed to be something that is supposed to be unique. If that makes sense, that's when I think that becomes a problem. Silence here, as always. I'm doing these pin wash areas. I just really need to concentrate to make sure we get everything the way I want to get them. Here we go. Yeah, Indominus was great, I agree. The Indominus box set was great value. I completely agree with you. Done this part, then I can talk more. Man, it's another great character that was in Cyberpunk, Takamura. So evil, but so honorable. A good man. You know, a good man trapped in a bad system. That's the best way to describe Takimura. And you can see that in the world today, and you can see that even in places like Warhammer 40,000. Absolutely, it's great. But I agree with you, Burgosaurus Rex. Byron, just talking about it, it's always nice when you get a box set with both factions you enjoy. Like, I was really happy with Kill Teams because I wanted both. I wanted the terrain too. I would say that something that just to get back to the subject I was talking about, you take a look at Rabude Gulliman in Warhammer 40,000. I think Rabude Gulliman's a good man, raised in a bad system, raised in basically constructed in a world where he has no choice but to be a monster, because that's what everybody in Warhammer 40,000 ends up having to be a monster. It's the state of the world of Warhammer 40,000. There's not much that can be done about it. But I personally think that Gulliman is probably the closest thing you're going to get to a good man who is actually open-minded and reasonable. And he actually doesn't want all of the war and destruction that really follows him around and follows the galaxy around. He wants peace. He's a builder. That's been one of my favorite things to read in recent years. And people wonder why Gulliman's my favorite Primarch. It's because I think that Gulliman is the example of a person who's trapped in a system that is not of his own design and doesn't want to be in it. That's just my takeaway. Glue these arms in, and I'm tempted to do that this time as well. Even though I obviously don't have to. But I really want to finish off the end of these barrels before I do anything like that. So the top's in. These will be glued in once the arms are completed. Yeah, wow. Piece by piece. I think Gulliman. I think that Vulcan is also a relatively good man trapped in a bad system. I don't. Ironically enough, I actually think that Rabute is a bit more relatable and a bit nicer guy than Vulcan is. But I don't think. I think that Gulliman would be a lot happier if he had peace. You know, like whether it's not even like I think that he would always be someone who would want to govern and administer. That much is completely true. But I actually think that Gulliman is somebody who doesn't actually have a love of war. Which is, you know, like, not all the Primarchs are like that. They're built for combat. But I actually think that if Gulliman never had to pick up his sword in anger again for the rest of his life, that I think he would be happy with that. I really do. You know, like, reading the character the way I do, seeing him in the novels the way I do, I think that he's very tired, and, you know, I think he realizes the folly of all of it. The violence begets yet more violence. I think that he understands that, but he's forced into this circumstance because of chaos, because of the Necrontyr, which, you know, again, that war will never end either. It's the war in heaven continued. It's the continuation war, where the children of the old ones have to fight against their ancient foe. I think Perturabo would have been an architect or a builder. Absolutely. I don't think that he would have wanted necessarily to be a warrior the way he was. You know, I don't think that... I think that a lot of these characters, there's more to them than just being slaughterers and kills. And some of them, that's not the case. I don't think there's a world where Conrad Kurz isn't a monster. And I like Kurz, but I'm not only going to tell you that Kurz ain't a monster, because he is. You know, you can take a look at... Magnus. I don't think Magnus would have been a conqueror. I don't think Lorgar had any great desire for violence and conquest either. I think Lorgar just wanted the truth. And, you know, when the Emperor wasn't willing to give him a truth that he could accept, and to be fair, the Imperial truth is a lie too. That, like, you know, like, he went out and found his own truth, and it was a dark one. You know, it's not all about war. I don't know what Vulcan would really want. That's the reason why I'm careful with my words for Vulcan. I've read his character, but not quite enough. I don't know what he would really want at the end of the day. I do know he's a more peaceful Primarch than many of his peers, so, like, that much is very true. I think that I really like Fulgrim. Such a shame he fell. Yeah, I think Fulgrim just wanted to be an artist. Genuinely, I think he would have loved just to have been an actor or in a theater, or painting, or constructing things, like, or sculpting. I like, you know, he's very much the artistic Primarch. You know, like, if you look at the Primarchs who are driven to war, Angron, because of the Butcher's Nails, is by default driven to war. Horus Lupercal is driven to war. Rogel Dorn, I think Dorn is driven to war. Leman Russ 100% is a warrior first. Conrad Kurz is a murderer. Like, there's just no way around that. The Lion, a gallant knight. So there are a lot of Primarchs where they don't have that edge to them. But many of these characters, I think, are trapped by circumstance, and that's what makes them great characters. That's what makes them worth reading. When you read Rabute Gulliman as a character, you can see a man who's basically caught in a struggle that he doesn't want to be in. I love his character for that very reason. And that's one reason why he's managed to even not have a big war with the Eldar, because he realizes he doesn't need to fight those people. And they're like, oh, but they're aliens and this and that. And he even has some of that himself. He's like, oh, the war of evolution will never end. It's like, well, you all have a common ancestor in the old ones. You're both constructs of the old ones. So this competition by evolution, you're both constructs. It's a ridiculous notion. But they can't let it go, because it's a relic of what the Emperor gave them, and they still, even though Gulliman knows the Emperor was full of shit at this point, he still can't let go of everything he learned from that, because it's part of his nature. It's part of his nature as a Primarch. It's part of the world that he grew up in. You can never truly escape the moments of your youth. You are who you were when you were younger. You evolve, you change, but you never stop being what you were at your formative years and at your formative thoughts. And Rubuti Gulliman is a character who's trapped in that as well. Even when he recognizes it, even though he knows that it's not the right thing to do, he can't let that go. So, like, he has flaws too, but at least he was strong enough in character and in person to be able to bypass some of it and be like, you know what, peace is the right adage. You know, you're never going to have complete peace. The Imperium's too big. The Imperium has millions of worlds in it. It has thousands of trillions of citizens, if not tens of thousands, if not millions of trillions of citizens. So you can never have that. You can't even have internal peace at that point. But you can do your best to try and mitigate those types of events. And I think that the Imperium and the craft-ruled Eldar don't make sense to be enemies. It really doesn't make sense for them to be enemies at all. Regardless of the game of evolution or whatever they want to call it. It's just, there is such a thing as a symbiotic relationship in nature. And this is just true in this instance as well. My local hobby shop manager is kind of a creep. I mean, he dresses the part, and when I try to talk to him, he just frowns. One time I watched 2 black sprays at the checkpoint, and he said I could only buy 1. Wow. That's kind of... Angron was supposed to be the empath. Would he have really been able to help someone like Kurz? No. Spoiler, the answer to this question is no. The presence is the echoes of the past. One of the most accurate things I've heard in a Warhammer book, and it's true. It's completely true. You're an echo of your parents, and your parents are an echo of your grandparents, and so on and so forth. He's always staring at me like I'm going to steal something, even though he's seen me more than 1,000 times. Some people are just weird, man. It's hard for me to... I don't know what to tell you, Marcus. I don't know the guy. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he talks like. Yeah, I met a homebrew salamander friendly to the Eldari. Lame. No, just kidding. That's cool. That's very cool. I dig it. But I think that we're coming to the close of the morning stream, my friends. I'm going to get some more recording done, and then I'm going to have a nap, and then we're going to do the afternoon stream today. I think we're going to do it. I think that's what we're going to do. Absolutely, that sounds pretty awesome. Does it sound awesome to you guys? I think it sounds awesome. With that being said, thank you very much. Oh, wait. This is where we disagree. I believe leaving the Eldar or any faction to be is too dangerous, as we cannot guarantee their destiny, what with the birth of Slaanesh. The problem is, Byron, they can't give birth to another Slaanesh because there's not enough of them. My first GW manager used to bully me for collecting Bretonnians, so I stopped buying models from him and made a point of showing off the models in a store I got elsewhere. Yeah! See you later, guys. I'll catch you later. We will have another stream this afternoon.